And just like yesterday, we are in mid-May. Today is May 15th. Of course, it's a Friday. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to the conversation here on Lagos Television. I am Abimbola Bello.
Good morning and welcome to the conversation. I am Joy Olu. I mean, this year is running so fast.
Especially for those, people who again started this year and thought, oh, perhaps it's going to be a slow year.
It's
We're
so
already in
fast.
May.
We're already in May.
And then the question is, how is time going? Is it because we're approaching an election year? Is
Maybe.
that why? And everybody just wants it to be done and dusted with.
Yeah.
And then we just know what's going on. Okay. Right before we go on to the conversation this morning, how has power supply been in your area?
So power supply, so people of my area went to protest
Oh, really?
last week to IKEDC.
Okay.
And there have been changes. But now, my own transformer from my house, we don't have lights, but other people have lights in the estate.
So who do you fight with?
I don't even know
Is it your
now.
transmitter
For 2
or
days,
IKEDC?
I've not seen lights.
Oh, wow. Okay, so, but that's not a general problem.
It's not a general
so
problem.
it's peculiar to perhaps your streets or your
Yes.
community or where. But I think there has been a bit of stability
Yes.
in power supply, and I think it's getting better. We do not know for sure if this is because of the new power minister.
Well, anything is possible.
Or maybe the weather. It's getting cooler.
And it's raining now.
So rain's coming, in piecemeal. But for whatever reasons, whatever is going on, would like for it to stay like that. Would like for it to continue so that Nigerians can have access to steady power supply. If there is steady power supply, we do not mind paying for steady power supply as much as, there is. And then it will now behove on every individual to now restrict or now know how they consume their electricity. You put out lights that you do not need, unnecessary things that you do not, use power for. So, but we like what is going on. We do hope it will be sustained, and at least more businesses can thrive.
Oh, yes,
when
absolutely.
there is electricity.
Especially those that depend on power for their businesses.
Okay. Of course, I think it would also be nice on the conversation to bid welcome to our new general manager. Of course, we have a new general manager here at Lagos Television, Mr. Kayode Oyekome. Thank you, for being our general manager, and wish you the very best as you, take on the mantle of leadership here at Lagos Television. So I'm sure one of these days you'll see him on the conversation. Maybe we'll be able to drag him to come on the show and, just, be with us on set and, just say one or two things about Lagos Television. So on that note, let's begin the show today by taking our news points this morning. We'll start on this side. And we said, the race towards 2027 is getting more interesting. A lot of drama, a lot of things happening, and only yesterday did Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State also declared his ambition to join the presidential race. And of course, the story says Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde on Thursday formally joined the presidential race for 2027 under an alliance involving the People's Democratic Party, perhaps to say a faction of the People's Democratic Party and the Allied People's Movement. In his declaration speech delivered at a rally held at Mapo Hall, Ibadan, and witnessed by a mammoth crowd, Makinde said, and I quote, "Today, I, Oluseyi Abiodun Makinde, FNSE, announce my candidacy for the position of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria under the PDP/APM alliance." The Punch newspaper had earlier reported that Makinde may formally declare his presidential ambition during the rally on Thursday. With the declaration, Makinde joined former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Minister of Transport Rotimi Amechi, 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, Adewale Adebayo of the Social Democratic Party, among others, to challenge President Bola Tinubu in 2027. Speaking at the rally, Makinde said Nigeria was drifting dangerously towards a one-party state, warning that democracy itself was under threat if opposition forces failed to unite against what he described as systematic attempts to weaken alternative political voices. At the rally were party enthusiasts, supporters, and political stakeholders from across the country. Speaking further, Makinde said the country had reached a critical political crossroads, insisting that the time had come for Nigerians and opposition parties to work together to rescue democracy and reset the nation. I will leave it there. Well, the story speaks for itself, really, and it's the fact that, of course, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde is also in the race. And I think him coming on board, I think this will be the third person from southwest Nigeria, that will be on the presidential race, talking about the incumbent President Bola Tinubu, talking about Seyi Makinde now, and then the man from the SDP. I think so. Those are the three people, from the southwest. Others are from
different parts of the
other
country.
parts of the country. But let's see how this will go at the end of the day, because again, like I said, it's a faction of the PDP that has come into an alliance with APM. The other faction is saying we do not know about this alliance. So where is this alliance coming from? So the PDP itself still has a lot of issues. They still have to close ranks. Else, I don't know how this alliance will work with the party. Except, of course, if they now say that, okay, we are no longer members of PDP, we're now with the APM. I don't even know, I don't understand this alliance. But, again, Governor Seyi Makinde has thrown in his gloves now and saying, you know what, I'm also in the race.
Well, 2027 is going to be an interesting year, and even 2026, the build up to the elections is already becoming very, very interesting. Events are unfolding, and we are just looking. But again, like the question I posed yesterday, do you have your voter's card? The power is in your hands. I mean, everyone has a right to make their
aspire. I mean, aspirations, yes.
I can decide tomorrow now to say I want to become president.
I will stand behind you, from your constituency.
Where will I start from? Abia State.
Hey, you can start from your kitchen. Let's take your story.
Okay. Tinubu urges peace, fairness as APC begins nationwide primaries. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Thursday called on members of the All Progressives Congress, APC, to conduct themselves peacefully and democratically as the party begins its nationwide primary elections ahead of the 2027 general elections. The president, in a statement marking the commencement of the APC primaries, described the exercise as a critical test of the party's unity, resilience, and democratic ideals. The APC primaries are scheduled to begin with contests for House of Representatives aspirants on Friday and end with the presidential primary on May 25, 2026. Tinubu, who recalls the founding principles of the ruling party, said the APC was built on progressive politics, consensus democracy, sacrifice, and selflessness, stressing that such values must continue to guide party members through the primary process. And I quote, "The primary elections are not mere exercises to produce our standard bearers. They are a referendum on our unity, resilience, and strength as a party. They present an opportunity to renew the bond and ideals that we share." End of quote. Well, this is, it's self-explanatory, and the message there is that Mr. President urges peace, fairness as the APC begins nationwide primaries. And I also, threw the question to my guest yesterday because we talked about build up to Lagos APC primaries, and I said, what does he expect from party members? And he was saying that, I mean, you win some, you lose some,
right.
and everyone must ensure that the goal is won. So if, as a party member, my candidate does not emerge as winner after the primaries, it doesn't mean that I begin to cause rancor in the party. I must align.
At least as long as you're a card-carrying member of the party, the goal would be for your party to actually win and not for an individual, even though, yes, people will be aggrieved. But it would be nice, again, to work as a team. And, yes, the primaries should actually have started today, but I think it's been postponed till tomorrow, 16th. So let's see how this will go on at the end of the day. Mr. President is actually, the leader of the party, and for him to have spoken, it meant that, everybody will need to align and come together to work as a team. Still continuing with the news points this morning, still on the 2027 elections, Atiku Amechi submit ADC presidential forms. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi on Thursday submitted their nomination forms at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja. Atiku, in a post on his X handle on Thursday, said his presidential bid represents a broader movement aimed at restoring national prosperity and rebuilding Nigeria. Amechi, on his part, pledged to turn the country around within 4 years if elected, arguing that competence, experience, and performance, not ethnicity or political sentiment, should determine the 2027 contest. The declarations come as the ADC continues to attract high-profile politicians ahead of the next general elections amid intensifying political realignment across the country. Speaking after submitting his form at the ADC National Headquarters in Abuja, Atiku wrote, "The march to restore prosperity and better days to our beloved nation took a firm and decisive step forward today at the National Secretariat of our great party, the ADC. The former vice president said the movement transcended politics and was focused on national renewal and hope. He also called on Nigerians across ethnic, religious, and regional divides to support the movement. On his part, Amechi pledged to transform Nigeria within 4 years if elected in the 2027 elections. Amechi made the promise shortly after submitting his nomination forms, where he also took a swipe at the administration of President Bola Tinubu, blaming it for Nigeria's worsening economic hardship.
Okay.
Okay, so Rotimi Amechi is saying in the next 4 years, if elected as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, everything will be fine and we will all be good. And of course, Atiku on his part says, you know, if I'm elected president, Nigerians, you know, will heave a sigh of relief and everything will be fine.
We know that when you are marketing a product, your mouth will be very sweet. Well, as we said earlier, everyone has a right to carry out their intentions, and you know, it's just that 4 years, I don't know how possible that is.
Well, miracles happen. So,
okay. Moving on, NBC appeals court order restricting broadcast code sanctions. The National Broadcasting Commission has appealed a ruling of the Federal High Court in Lagos that temporarily restrained it from enforcing parts of the controversial 6th edition of the Nigeria Broadcasting Code against broadcasters and presenters. The appeal follows an interim injunction granted by Justice Daniel Osiago, which stopped the Commission from using its recently issued formal notice to threaten, sanction, or punish broadcast stations over alleged violations such as presenting personal opinions as facts, intimidating guests, or failing to maintain neutrality. The court order was granted after arguments on an ex parte motion filed by the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project and the Nigerian Guild of Editors, represented by Adeyinka Olumide Fusika, SAN. In its notice of appeal dated May 8, 2026, the NBC expressed dissatisfaction with the ruling and asked the Court of Appeal in Lagos to overturn the decision. The Commission stated, and I quote, "Take notice that the appellant, being dissatisfied with the decision of the Federal High Court delivered by Justice Daniel Osiago, sitting at Lagos, contained in the ruling of the court delivered on 4th May 2026, doth hereby appeal to the Court of Appeal, Lagos." The NBC said it was challenging the entire decision and is seeking orders allowing the appeal and setting aside the trial court's ruling. Among its grounds of appeal, the Commission argued that the trial court failed to properly evaluate the evidence before it and erred in granting the application as requested by the claimants. It's a long read, and the case is still in court because the matter has been adjourned to, where is it again now? June 1, 2026. But then NBC is trying to appeal. Is it that they've seen some stations that have too anyhow?
No, so Serap and Guild of Editors had approached the court, rising from the NBC restriction notice. And so, like you said, it's a case that is in court, so there's really nothing much we can say about it. So this is an appeal, and everybody has a right to appeal if they feel that a judgment is not in their favor. And so they're appealing this particular one, saying that they have the powers, and constitutionally by the codes of the NBC, they have the right to actually, regulate what the media does in Nigeria. And so June 1 is the day that the matter will be heard in court. So we will wait, because again, it is our constituency, it concerns us. So we will wait until the ruling in court, and at the end of the day, we will know where this pendulum will swing. Right, on the X platform this morning, excuse me, what was one of the issues trending on the X platform this morning that we should talk about? Honestly, it's not something that I really, because I don't know. Now this is my personal opinion, and there's certain things that I think people should actually not bring to the social media platforms.
Absolutely.
Issues about marriages, issues about quote unquote infidelity. I think these things are private issues, and
they should be dealt with.
They should be dealt with privately, especially when in court celebrities are involved. Now we have Chike involved, we have Frank Edoho involved, we have Sandra Edoho involved. Somehow Kate is also involved, the ex-wife of Frank. Now we have two ex-wives of Frank Edoho. These things I just believe are things that ordinarily should be settled. And if you cannot settle it amicably between yourself or amongst yourselves, then keep quiet.
I bring it to social media.
Not social media, because at the end of the day, you will hear from A, you will hear from B, you'll hear from C, all at different points. So whose account would you then believe? Because it's a very dicey issue. And when it comes to, again, I would say when it comes to couples, honestly, don't even meddle. Because you don't know where they started from. You don't know what each and everybody is going through. And you don't know how these things would, pan out. But again, trust social media to take sides with whichever story resonates with them. And at the moment, Chike is not having it good at all. A lot of backlash, coming for him, a lot of stories emanating, and it's just not good.
Things are just unfolding.
Things that ordinarily you shouldn't even hear are now coming up, and you just ask yourself that question: to what effect?
For me, it is messy already, and it's I don't know. But again, and it's interesting that the topic that we'll be treating has to do with celebrity and all. At what point, what makes a celebrity at this point? Where is the place for character? Where is the place for modesty? There are some things that we should not even be hearing. Dirty talks.
Yeah. Is it also possible that you differentiate your personal life away from your life as a celebrity? Because again, sometimes I think people also get it wrong, that as long as you are in our faces, then we need to know everything about you. Says who? All we should hear about you should be that thing that you do. Absolutely. That thing that makes you a celebrity. Every other thing about, and so that's why sometimes I respect people who keep their private lives. It's their private life. It has nothing to do with that part of them being celebrities. But again, in Nigeria, things are always overboard.
And we like bad news. Let's say it. We like to hear bad news.
But Joy, in our world, which news sells?
It's bad news.
So bad news is good news. Okay. All right, you can go on the X platform this morning and take a further read on why Chike is trending. And I really don't know why it is only Chike that is trending, because there's so many people involved in this particular issue. But Chike is the one taking
because again, everybody sees as a lover boy.
The kind of songs
he sings, and you don't expect such from him.
Because he's a fine boy. Yeah. Joy, don't say that you don't expect. Has he been found guilty?
Well,
so
let them just go and sort themselves out. And Everybody focus. Election is coming. No? Don't let all this distract.
Just the side attractions. Anyway, there are things that make the world go round, and there are things that, of course, will always catch the fancy of you know, the Vans, and you Vans me. So we'll take a break. The conversation returns shortly.